Hi, hello, namaste. In 1984, two ignited minds and life partners started a fantastic organization that has played a monopoly in polishing not only in India but overseas as well. They started it in our very own city, Aurangabad, Chhatrapati Sambhajinagar, and are soaring high now. We would like to welcome the power couple of Aurangabad and the founders of Grindmaster, Mr. Milind Kelkar sir and Mrs. Mohini Kelkar ma'am, to the fourth episode of TEJAS, a podcast series and an initiative by NSBT. Welcome sir, welcome ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you for your kind words.
We just spoke the reality.
Yeah. Firstly, a big congratulations on completing 40 years of Grindmaster. It's a big journey. And we would
give a round of applause for
yes.
that.
Thank you. And we would really love to hear from you. How was this journey for you? How you started? And how Grindmaster took shape?
This is 40 years is a very long story.
It is.
So I'll try to put it as shortly as possible. So as a family, my father was one of the pioneer chartered accountants of Aurangabad. And he was very keen that his next generation gets into business.
Okay.
That was one of the motivations that we had a family support. Then the two of us, when we studied in college, we had a liking and love for the subject of machine tools. Okay. It fascinated us. So putting these two things together, and we thought that we will start something. So as a result, I once attended one of the interviews which was being conducted by a very famous auto company to develop young engineers as ancillaries. So I attended one such session, and after listening to a 1 hour discourse, I concluded while coming out that I will not become an ancillary. So that was one of the first decisions that was made. So once it was no ancillaries, then there were many options what are your own products? What can we do with meager capital? So obviously one of the answers was की ज्याच्यात डोकं चालू शकेल असं काहीतरी बिझनेस करावा. So the idea then was that we'll start something in machine tools. And it so happened that this Nirlep family, both Ram and Mukund, have been very close friends. And since they were facing some issues in their polishing sections, especially related to productivity, so we developed a small prototype for them. It was not exactly a roaring success, but then it was enough to give us a direction that yes, this could work. And then we left our jobs. She was working for a company known as PMT Traub. I was having a fairly decent job in Tata Motors, Telco in those days. And then we just left our jobs and came to Aurangabad, not knowing much about exactly what we are going to do. Because if we talk of machine building, then neither of us had ever built a machine. She was working in a machine tool, the design department of a machine tool company, and I had lots of to do with machine tool maintenance. But that's about all. But about an actual design of a full machine, we had no clue actually. But then we thought that we should be able to do it once we apply our minds to it. And so it began in a very small way. And then we progressed from time to time by taking up new challenges. And one thing that we did, because in business, ultimately what is most important is trust. So how do you create trust? When I went there or she went there to sell, I was 26, she was 23. So people find it very difficult to believe that such young people can build really good machines. So then we used to tell them, okay, if it is successful, it is yours. If it is unsuccessful, here is your bank guarantee, you just take back your money. So that you don't have any risk. So the customer risk, zero. That was the motto that we followed. And then, of course, Aurangabad in those days was, I would say, very interesting. It was really backward in terms of infrastructure. We always struggled, because we kept getting then visitors from around the country. In 84, 85, 86, Mingling was the only hotel where we could take them. Yes. Because the 5-star hotels were there, but they were out of our reach. We could not afford them. So, and then talking of engineering infrastructure, things were even tougher. Most people here who had lathes and milling machines and such basic infrastructure, they thought that if a part looks approximately like the drawing, then their job is done. Yeah. So, and we had, see, the two of us, our engineering had taught us that we have to make interchangeable assemblies.
Yeah.
Now, interchangeable assembly means that even if a part is required 20 years down the line, it should be made as per a drawing and it should go and fit over there.
Right.
And that was our commitment to our customers. So, it was an uphill task of getting parts made over here. But over the years, our vendors also developed themselves, and now Aurangabad has a very bustling infrastructure, and there are very, very few things for which we have to go outside of Aurangabad.
Right.
Yeah. Would you like to add something?
True, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I do remember that we had to go to Bombay for purchasing even the electric motors. And as Milind mentioned, that how to read a drawing, this was the first thing which we had to tell our vendors that this is what we want, and in fact work with them on the tooling and how to make a part, and half of the parts were getting rejected. So probably it was good in the sense that because of that we set our own manufacturing infrastructure in a way that all critical parts of our machines today are made on our own, in our own manufacturing facility.
That's great.
Yeah, and it really helped develop the parts accurately and follow it. Also, quality and delivery both become challenging if you are dependent on outsider sources
Right.
who are unreliable like this to make a part.
Right.
In a way, we could, because of this, we could develop our own infrastructure and not be dependent on outside vendors to make the accurate parts. Another challenge was, of course, because we made customized machines. The quantity of parts of any one design cannot be multiple.
Right.
Like automotive, you make lakhs of parts of the same design.
Absolutely.
So then the process, manufacturing process, once set for that part, can be followed. Whereas in our case, every part manufacturing, we had to work hard to make it right in the first place. This was the initial days. Now, of course, the infrastructure is really improved quite a lot. In Aurangabad.
But one thing we did during those days, because we were very small, our vendors were smaller still. So how do we ensure that they keep supplying us? So one thing we realized that, between approximately the 3rd of every month to the 10th of every month, the small entrepreneur who was making parts for us would just keep running around other suppliers to collect his money. Because he had to make payments on the 7th. Then somewhere in 1986, I told them that look, you stop worrying about your 7th. Your 7th is my responsibility. That your workers will be paid on the 7th is my responsibility here on. And that really helped those vendors, because then they become so dedicated to us, and our jobs would then always get priority. And then even if our jobs get rejected, because rejection was based on a solid drawing, so they realize that unless everything is perfect on that part, it will not get accepted. That followed with a sound payment system, especially to small vendors. Big vendors, we used to tell, we had a supplier known as Hanuman Traders in Mumbai. So we had an agreement done with him that we will pay you as and when we get money. But then such was his belief in us that after 40 years he is still our supplier.
Wow.
Yeah. And he still is willing to offer, though we do not use such terms.
That is sheerly amazing, sir, because I have never heard of somebody who is agreeing on working on such a term. I mean, it's just sheer trust and belief that you have instilled into these.
See, because we also faced, naturally, as in the beginning, we also faced lots of cash crunches.
Yeah.
Yeah, so much so that, of course, we used to move on a Lambretta scooter when we came over here, and from Chikaldhana, parts as per our drawing would come on the Lambretta.
Well, just on a lighter note, I think your story should be, if at all there is a movie, it should be named as Double Seat.
Actually, you are
The
right.
scooter, it's also the personal life, it's also your partnership in the organization. That's amazing.
And it's
No,
an
but see,
inspiring
one
story.
thing I'll tell you, neither of us, now she had a background in Bombay, then in Pune,
Yes.
and then in Aurangabad. Never once did we think, you can confirm with her, of going somewhere else.
Yeah, true. Or never we thought that why did we leave our cushy, fat-paying jobs, a telco
Yes,
job,
absolutely.
because both of us had wonderful jobs, and also credit to our family who could have
That
also
is
said
really,
that
really nice.
why are you struggling here? Better be in Pune, have enjoy your life. And we could become general manager in short span of time.
Easily.
Exactly.
Easily.
It is like you would have been very comfortable at very better position, big positions if you had continued. But your family supported you, they pushed you to do something very good, and leaving a job in Pune and coming to a backward region like Aurangabad, settling down here, starting something on your own with the Lambretta scooter and everything, it must be a very tough phase for you then.
It was not tough actually. See, what happens is, it is only in hindsight we think that it is tough. See, I'll tell you a small thing about risk. Does an entrepreneur take risk? I think he does not take a risk.
Okay.
That's because only outsiders think that he is taking a risk. He himself is not feeling that he is taking a risk. Otherwise, he would not take it.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So this is how it worked actually. We were very happy doing what we were happy on the Lambretta, we were happy on the M80 that we had. And that time also we were happy. Now also things have changed a little, but life continues in a good way.
Punekars must be thinking like that. It's better to settle down in Aurangabad. Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see, but I'll tell you one more thing. My father also came to Aurangabad, leaving Pune. He could have also had a very nice chartered accountant's career in Pune. But then, for various reasons, he chose Aurangabad. And he was one of the earliest chartered accountants of Aurangabad. So since he was pioneering, we thought that we could also do the same.
But sir, I mean, because of this reason, now today I think our city is where it is.
Yes.
I mean, there are stories like you, which have taken this city to another level, and now today it is becoming an attraction point for everybody.
Absolutely.
That's really amazing.
Absolutely.
And I mean, one more aspect which I really like, because I have been dabbling in both the fields. I mean,
Yeah,
I have a family business of mass manufacturing. She is working in mass manufacturing of agricultural products, and I personally have dabbled little bit into capital goods, development of capital goods, and these two are altogether different ballgames.
Totally different.
And that particular time was reinforcing the region with, as you mentioned, ancillary development units. And I cannot imagine at that time you thought कि ये नहीं करेंगे, कुछ अलग करेंगे. It's sheerly a forward thinking.
Yeah.
Adding to that, ma'am, I would like to ask that now this capital goods business and its business development is a different thing. Practically, we have to find customers. In auto ancillary or mass manufacturing, customer has already found you, and it goes on. So, being a production engineer, both of you are production engineers, how did you really get interested into business development,
Yeah.
and that to business development of capital goods?
Yeah.
And leading that.
You are, I mean, really speaking, you are the pillar in
Yeah,
your
yeah.
organization for
Right,
The
business.
leading lady in
Yes.
business development in Grindmaster.
Yeah, marketing and business development. So to say, I started my career designing the machines. As Milind said, we used to do a lot of things together in the initial period, because none of the machines had precedence. What we developed was completely import substitute. Whatever machines we made, like cookware polishing, forging, grinding, then rim polishing, and then crankshaft micro finishing, and so on, they were all made first time in India. And so initially we had to make the product right. And anybody in the world cannot make it right first time.
That is true.
So our thing was, we make a machine, we observe it, then even if the customer does not complain, we used to go to the customer and see what is not right.
Great.
or what can be improved, because sometimes a customer is also ignorant. And I think a more choosy customer is better for you. A crying customer, I don't remember not having taken a call because my machine has a problem somewhere. You know, in fact, we used to call ourselves and ask whether the problem is really solved or not. And if not, we used to go and find out the real reason and then admit it clearly that this was wrong and we will make this change. Because see, when you make a customized machine, it is not like building a standard CNC lathe where you have headstock, tailstock, slides and bed and a controller. You know, that is a standard thing. Whereas a customized polishing machine has to deliver a result consistently with the cycle time committed. So there is a lot to be investigated into to make your product more better and better.
Right.
I would not say perfect because perfect is difficult to achieve, but you have to go, every step has to be in the direction of progress. So we spend the first 9-10 years purely focusing on what we are making. But that time we used to make all kinds of things, like whatever came our way. Because knowing that these two young people are enthusiastic to develop, we used to get a lot of new things.
Yes.
That's
There
nice.
are some examples where we made one-off machines, like, picking bad seeds from the good ones.
Acha.
I mean,
okay.
these kind of things, or fettling of a big casting for Anurang engineering.
Nice.
We used to do all kinds of things. At the end of 10 years, then we started thinking that we have to now keep a focus. We cannot do any machine that comes our way. And so the idea started coming that we should now sell more or approach more customers who need this kind of things. Like the machine we made for Nirlep, subsequently similar machines or much advanced machines were made for Hawkins and Prestige and so on. Same was the case in other lines. And so we felt the need that somebody has to get into marketing. And we do believe that design and marketing has to be with the core team. Manufacturing can be taken care of by others. But basically design and what customer wants, that is marketing or sales, has to be with us. And so I have the inclination of meeting people, going out, and so I took up marketing activity from our side. But of course, as I said, it has to go hand in hand,
Right.
particularly for the customized machines. You are not selling a product which is already there, a pen or a calculator. You are selling a concept. So when you sell a concept, you have to go to the customer with the technical proposal. And so very often we worked hand in hand. So finding a new customer, definitely, as you rightly said, I do remember each and every customer, how we worked and, finally got them, like Tata Motors, then Ashok Leyland. But when we started Bharat Forge, in fact, I remember having interactions with Baba Kalyani. That time, Baba Kalyani was, discussing the machine himself. Now also, to some extent, he does it for very complicated machines. But I do remember with a blueprint on the table, having discussed with him the idea, and then they gave us the order for linishing of front axle beam. So
Wow.
it was interesting, I mean, to take this forward. And I had a liking for it, and so I took up marketing from that angle.
I think selling a concept is really a task because making the person understand first that
Yeah.
what we are trying to sell him is the same which he is trying to get from us.
Yeah.
Making
And to
him
get
a
to one page, it takes a
yeah,
lot.
yeah, it takes a lot. The clarity of thoughts from your side should be transpired to him in
Yeah.
that process.
Exactly. And all our initial machines, they were just, we used to sometimes hand sketch and tell them that this is our idea and this is how we are going to do. Probably our own confidence in what we are saying might be affecting them, and also seeing the enthusiasm and the trustworthiness which was built over a period of time, that we got these opportunities of customized machine designs.
That's a
That's
great
nice.
story.
That's really nice. That's how she got into selling many machines worldwide then.
Yeah, no, going worldwide was totally another challenge, to be very frank. So when we started building the machines, we said that the first thing is go to the exhibitions. How do you find the new customers? So exhibition is the first thing to do. So we went to the exhibitions. There we got lot of interest from the customers. Then visiting them and seeing their requirements and then developing it. So this is how the development process goes. See, just take the example of Bharat Forge. The same job, the front axle beam, which we discuss across the table with Baba Kalyani. For the very same job, we have given now the robotic grinding machine.
Oh,
So Bharat Forge is also not what it was in
Correct.
86, 87, right? So eventually the technology has to evolve, the customer is evolving. So seeing the things at the customer end becomes very important because their cycle time requirement changes, their input also changes. The forging presses have changed so much over a period of time. The amount of flashes are less. So
I think
the
we are
process-
getting in too much detail actually. If I may interrupt.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
So, ma'am, it was really interesting to know the story of creating import substitutes and following the mantra "Make in India, make for the world" before even that mantra arrived. Yeah, for capital good manufacturers, or rather for any manufacturer, this is definitely an interesting story of how to aim high.
it is definitely. I think in Grindmaster, we make robust products. Okay.
Yeah, it's known for that.
It is known for that. But for making that product, the key element is the process. So, the process and the product, how do they complement each other? What is your thought?
See, the process and the product really go hand in hand. As you know, everything starts in two ways. The first time creation happens in the mind, and the second is it happens in a physical form. So both the forms, they have to follow a very strict process.
Right.
Whether you create something in your mind, you need to get a certain level of clarity before you can even start converting it into a physical drawing, let alone a physical machine. So process is always the most important part, whether you are manufacturing a product or then whether you are installing and commissioning it. So in our case, what happened was, so the word process I am using in two different ways. One is a process which is a step-by-step methodology that you use in order to reach to your end goal of a physical product. And the other is the process for our business. Process is also very important because in our business we are selling a solution. So solution must comprise of the machine, the tool and the process.
Right.
So the machine, you have a machine, you have the tools, but you don't have knowledge on how to use these. So that's where the word process again comes in. So we have to develop the process for doing that. So I would say that the process and product, they are really extremely complementary and one cannot survive without the other.
They are life partners.
Yeah, I can add to this that there are different kind of researches. When we say that we are deep into research and development, I wish to mention about process research. So we have a kind of process research lab wherein when a part comes to us for achieving certain finish, we work on the tooling and the processes to achieve it first.
Okay.
And then the machine is built around that. And I'm happy to share that such parts are coming to us from outside India as well. And countries like Japan. I wish to cite an example that we had the parts from Komatsu, Japan, hydraulic cylinder, big cylinder, and there were some very stringent finish values. Similarly, Carter machinery from USA. And we had to develop a process which can achieve that finish. And probably because we could show this process, we backed the order. Because see, when there are stringent finish values
Yes.
not achieved up till now by anyone, then you are on the same level field
Absolutely.
as Germans or Japanese.
Mm-hmm.
So when such parts come to us, we in fact welcome them because that becomes our entry point.
Right.
We are not compared with Japanese only from the machine build point of view, but also ability to achieve the finish. So we are very keen to get such parts because that is a door opener for us to enter the foreign markets.
Right.
actually.
Right.
It's always like challenge accepted.
But understanding and listening to this, I think that these kind of processes and the kind of products which are made in Grindmaster need a lot of technically sound people. And I think the workmanship, rather the talent which is ready in all over the world, getting it to Aurangabad or grooming it in Aurangabad is a challenge. It is really difficult to get workmen who are talented, technically sound. So how do you do it? How do you groom people in your organization?
This, I think, was the toughest challenge faced by us. Because we ourselves were raw. So we did not know the fundamentals, the core fundamentals of machine tool building. So we were training ourselves, we were training our people. So right from the inception, the one thing that we did was train, and keep creating training documents. So because no one can remember what you have said by telling them once, it has to be repeated and it has to be in writing. Like we created several documents for designing because a good product starts from a good design. So the design principles have to be sound. So first we had to train in that.
Yes.
So we had rules, which we kept on making as drawings and training people as they came afresh. Most of the people that we have always been from within Marathwada. So, and we found that there is no point in trying to get people from outside who, as it is in those days, were coming to Aurangabad as if they were going to Andamans. Yeah, so it was a fact. And then when we started making our training documentation, just to give you an example, then we came out with a drawing which showed 11 different ways in which a bolt will not tighten. And it will not do its function. So now, if something comes loose, then the machine does not work.
Right.
And that every operator, his supervisor, his immediate boss, everyone has to understand this. So these slides, they are used, they were created about 35 years back, they are still in use.
Oh wow.
Because every year we keep getting new people and they all go through this rigorous training. Graduate trainee engineers, 3 months they do not contribute anything at all to any operation.
Okay.
They just sit in classes and of course also go on the shop floor to understand what is happening. But then local people, see, talent is that way uniformly spread throughout the world and throughout all communities. So that is our very firm belief. So it's only a matter of picking them up and grooming them, training them, let them also learn from their mistakes. And we followed some simple rules because see, we also had a problem of attrition in the beginning. Because when you start, you are not as professional. We both of us were only working in a job and not handled many people. So then we put very strict rules like, that this company will never use adjectives in any of its conversations unless it is in genuine praise. So that made a huge amount of difference. See, because if you see the workman level people, they are used to abuses.
Right.
And I said that this will just not do. A workman and an engineer and an accountant are just absolutely the same for me. There is no difference in them. They have to be treated absolutely on the equal footing. And I think these type of fundamental principles, they created, sort of a culture in the organization which helped us. And because, see, what happens is once you believe in someone, he starts performing much better. And once we keep telling them, look, this machine is now to go to Malaysia and perform over there. So you cannot afford to leave something about which you have a doubt.
Right.
If you have a doubt, raise a flag, let's sort it out, and only then we'll take the next step.
Absolutely.
So workmanship, yes, was a tough challenge. And once she asked, one of our foreign collaborators as to what we should do to improve the aesthetics of our machines. He just gave one answer: just let everything come at right angles to each
Wow.
other.
Such a fundamental.
Yes, but then we started looking at why this does not happen. Then we invested heavily into the right technology to do it, and now our machines get accepted without any problem, absolutely anywhere in the world, including the core of Germany in Stuttgart. Against German competition, we are installing
Wow.
machines as now more or less a single source.
Great.
Wow.
Amazing.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think we need to quote down the.
I was just
Phrase.
about to tell him.
Phrase which
I was just about to tell the same thing. Sir, I had heard this phrase of yours that adjectives are to be used only in case of genuine praise.
Yes.
And I firmly believe that 90% of the people issues are killed with that. And I'm very happy to share that in our organization, we are putting this phrase.
Okay.
Like-minded.
I think we
Yeah.
should put his name also there.
Of course, by your
Quoted
name
by.
only.
Quoted by.
Yes.
And with respect to this Malaysia thing, I do remember that when the machine went to Malaysia, our technician was supposed to go there. And his flight was next day morning from Aurangabad. He came previous evening to my cabin and said, "Ma'am, I'm not going. I'm very afraid. I have never traveled outside India. I can't speak English very well. I'm not going."
And I have never sat in a plane.
Yeah.
Oh.
So he was so afraid. And then I said, "Come on, sit here and tell me now, one by one, what are your problems?" Now, flight, everybody is taking flight. There is no issue. Just sit with God's name in your mind and do that. Then language was his main problem.
Yes.
And I told him, "Are you going to go there for delivering a speech in English?" "No." Can you run the machine? Can you assemble the machine? Yes. Then I said, that is what you're going
That's
for.
what
You don't have to speak hi-fi English, as it is Malaysians also don't.
Right.
So let us remember that even Chinese where you're going, or even Germans, they don't know English as well. So language cannot be your barrier. Your technical capability, if you are strong, then there is no barrier.
Right.
And that is how even the Marathwada region, as he said, we find that here people are more hungry. There is a hunger in the belly.
Yes.
So that means they want to learn new things. They are really wanting to do more and more.
True.
And that is why we never thought that it's a challenge being in this region and setting up a factory here.
I think hunger in the belly is the main thing and is the urge to thrive anywhere and everywhere in the
And
world.
that's prevalent in the region.
Yeah.
Ma'am, since you mentioned China, I was about to ask this since long time. And it's great that I am getting an opportunity to ask this thing in the
True.
podcast. We also discussed on this various times. China is the global manufacturer. China is the exporter for the world.
Yes.
And you are exporting to China. So this is an amazing paradox. We would really love to hear if at all there is a backstory for this. Because I consider this as a significant achievement for an Indian.
It is. It is.
Yeah. See, what happened was, we got into a technical collaboration with an American company for manufacturing a certain range of micro finishing machines. It so happened that within about 3 to 4 years of very, very rigorous hard work, we could come up to the American standard.
Okay.
So, of course, on the way we had lots of criticisms, like, very caustic remarks on scratches. "Oh, we did not order this scratch. Why are you putting scratches on these parts?" So we went through all those paces, but at the end of about 4 years, they realized that now our quality is up to the mark. So they started importing machines from us, fully built machines, and re-exporting them to China.
Oh.
And then after doing this for about a couple of years, they realized that, in this whole exercise, only shipping companies are making money. No one else is making money.
True.
So then they put a question to me during one of my visits to the US that, would you like to take on China? Now it came to me like a bolt. That because our territory otherwise was India and Southeast Asia. So they said, would you like to do China? but without batting an eyelid, I say yes.
Wow.
Because generally our attitude, both of us, we first say yes and then think how to do it. Yeah. So then I started going to China in 2009. And our very first customer is this very famous motor company, the BYD Motor Company.
Oh.
World leaders in the battery manufacturing.
Now EVs.
They were our first customers. And I remember going there with one of old IMCO associates, our collaborators associates. And then they were somehow convinced that we are able to match global quality. But our next challenge in China came from General Motors. Now, General Motors in China conventionally was buying machines from Germany
Okay.
and for most of their crankshaft line requirements. So when we pitched ourselves, first they said that, oh, Indian company, we are talking of 2010. So India in 2010 is not what
14
India
years
is today.
Right, right.
Yeah. So there were lots of doubts, but then they agreed to put us through their technical paces.
Okay.
So there's when this 325 GB document came to us to answer various questions and to check whether we can. Of course, we had to comply to all those whatever was written in that 325 GB document. So we spent lots of midnight oil on it, studying what it is, then going to suppliers, understanding from suppliers as to what are the standards and how does this affect it and how does it affect cost and so on. So it was a long drawn out exercise. So when they thought that yes, our quotation seems to be in line, we seem to have understood the requirement, then they said, but we want this particular changeover, because in an automotive business, as you would know well, changeover time is very important because that is a non-productive time. So they said that we want to change over this crankshaft line in 30 minutes. And currently on the microfinishing German machine that they were using, it was taking about 120 minutes.
Wow.
So I thought this is an opportunity, and I had one of my senior colleagues with me, and he also has a similar attitude. करेंगे ना sir? तो करेंगे ना sir हो गया. तो then I came back, I spoke to her also, and then we made a small handheld model on how we would do that changeover.
Oh.
Okay.
We actually designed it, made the parts, and next visit, which happened within 2 months of the first, in my suitcase I carried this model.
Wow.
So how are you going to change over? This is the model, you turn this handle and this is how a certain thing will happen. And that really impressed them, and they then went out of the way and supported us.
Okay.
So they placed the order, and unlike any other company, they came to us twice.
Okay.
They said that since you are building the machine for General Motors for the first time, we would come for a pre-acceptance first time only to see that you are on the right path, and then again to qualify the machine. And that really changed the face of Grindmaster, because we struggled so hard during those days. So coming home at 3 o'clock in the morning, going back at 8 o'clock in the morning was very normal. Yeah, but then that's what taught us a lot. And see, since you were asking about make for the world, this concept came to us many, many years back. So somewhere in 95, 96 itself, we started thinking that we must sell to the world, and even a little before that. And the idea was twofold, that we must go to the world for two reasons. One, the business reason, that we need better margins than what the Indian market could afford. And B, unless we go out, our products cannot increase in class, because what is acceptable in India is not acceptable outside.
Right.
So unless we make something which is acceptable all over and learn how to make it, we cannot become a global supplier.
Absolutely.
So that's how that thought process went, and it is a very proud thing to say that after we built the first machine in General Motors, in the last 12 years, we did not lose a single order from General Motors.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
So every single machine that was built, and these are big machines, about $1.5–2 million. And for a company to repose their trust into us again and again, it meant that our team was doing something right.
True. That's amazing. True. I mean, there is always that one day in the lifespan of any organization when that success is seen, felt. But behind that success, there is a lot of hard work.
Yes.
just as you did. It's a great backstory.
And since you mentioned about China, see, people think that China is low cost country, so we cannot compete there. So what we are selling to China is not against the Chinese competition at all.
Right.
This is an important point that we are competing in China against Germans and Japanese. And we are selling only the high technology machines there. I don't think we can sell our standard general purpose machines to China. What we are essentially selling there is to auto OEMs.
Okay.
Like Milind said, General Motors, then there is Nissan, then Dongfeng Honda and SAIC, etc., etc. So we, as a strategy, we went there for selling the high technology. I do believe that India today has good export potential for the value added products.
Okay.
True.
So we should not go by the cost,
Absolutely.
the cost proposition.
Mm-hmm.
And this is something for everyone. I mean, that we need to go with the value addition so that we don't fight for every penny and try to grab the orders.
Absolutely. And I mean, doing that special thing also requires that ability to take a special risk. But then it fructifies. Risk hai to ishq hai. That's great, ma'am. And just taking one more point from our initial discussions. So you mentioned that you never really felt like settling anywhere else than Aurangabad. You always felt that this is the right place. And we were really intrigued because this is a tech business. So, I mean, despite of having every opportunity to set up base, not only in any city in India, but probably even outside
Anywhere
India,
in the world, right?
in a more developed world. What really motivated you? What really encouraged you to do the same thing here with double the zeal and double the quality?
Why Aurangabad?
Why Aurangabad?
Yeah.
See, one simple answer for that would be life. Life in Aurangabad is very comfortable. Basically, I am practically born and brought up in Aurangabad. I am in Aurangabad since 1959. So, and we have friends who are now friends for 60 years.
Yes.
Yes. So, this is a place where we were brought up over here, and we know that whatever we can do. I will give you an example. When Samir came back to Aurangabad, so we also used to wonder that this boy has a very nice job and a very good opportunity in Switzerland. He is working there. Why is he coming here? So after about a year after coming here, he said, "Look, Milind Baba, I can do everything in Aurangabad what I can do in Switzerland.
That's
Same.
I can walk in the mountains. I can cycle in the mountains. I can go find different rivulets in which I can." I don't need a swimming pool, though I like to swim in swimming pools, but he could find, he loves that, going under waterfalls, finding out new sources and enjoying life in a more, I would say, rustic way. He said that what's great about Switzerland, everything is available in Aurangabad. So that's how
hear,
also it happened to us. So we never thought that we are deprived of anything.
Yeah. Right.
So if you are not feeling deprived, why would you think of going anywhere else? And from a business point of view, actually, in hindsight also I can say that, the cost of operating in Aurangabad was still the lowest. So take the cost of land, take the cost of construction and everything as compared to Pune, for example. Aurangabad was almost 2/3 of that cost all the time.
Yeah.
And then the labor force there, generally they are third, fourth generation labor force. So they are also, labor is also quite expensive. Difficult to get engineers in a small organization. So all those conditions were actually favorable in Aurangabad. So these are, some basic reasons.
So
Quality of life and then economics.
So I think that what your father visioned for himself settling down in Aurangabad, it transpired into you. That also transpired into Samir, however.
Yes.
So generation to generation, your family loves Aurangabad that way.
Yes.
It's a good thing. Also, I have a fun question to ask you. That is, what is or why is 100 minus 1 0? What is this equation?
See, after lots of deliberations with external consultants as well, everyone employs external consultants for ISO 9000 and so on. So with them, when we did our quality policy writings, then they were long, 20 words, 24 words statements, very carefully crafted, which word should come first, which word should come second. Then both of us were really uncomfortable, and we ourselves could not express that. Then there is a system of putting it in the pocket, so that, but no one ever remembers a sequence of 24 words which he does not normally use
Right.
in operation. So then we came up with this phrase that what are we about? We are about customer satisfaction. And when do we get that? When he is satisfied. When is he satisfied? When his product works to his requirement. So then this term came 100 minus 1, क्या होगा? 0 हो जाएगा. So it came from two senses actually. One is that the machine is built up of too many parts. A typical big machine that we make is made up of 10,000 parts.
Right.
One part of that not working brings the machine down to its knees. And then that is 0.
Right.
The other aspect is understanding the 100. So the 100 of the customer, understanding the customer's 100%. That is one of the skills that is essential for making custom built products. Because of otherwise we cannot be on the same page. So understanding the customer's 100, translating into documentation such that it percolates down the line, and then building a product which does not have a single defect in it, such that it performs 100%. Because it's not performing is 0. Not understanding customers' requirement 100% also brings us down to 0.
That's true.
So 100 minus 1, it does not give us 99. And we think that then it is a 0, then we have not done our job. And that was then also, practically also then it became very easy to, you ask anyone in Grindmaster, there are in fact two questions that you ask any Grindmaster guy. What is your quality policy? 100 minus 1 is equal to 0. And then the next question I trained them many years is, who pays you for your salary? Customer.
That is the right answer actually.
Yeah. So they are trained to say this. So because then they become customer oriented. They know that they are not satisfying their boss, they are not satisfying, the directors of the company, they have to satisfy the customer.
Right.
Yeah. So
Simple yet brilliant. First thing that probably both of us are going to go, we are going to go back. We are going to look at what are our policies, and anything that starts with we firmly believe, we have to just cut that out.
And actually, it is impactful. Like, unless you make some impactful statements, people don't remember it or
Yes.
or think about it. Like quality policy, if you want people to worry about it, think about it, first of all, it should be impactful, that people think and ask questions.
Right.
What is 100? What is 1? And all that.
Makes you think. Yes. So now moving to the last segment of today's episode. What next for Grindmaster? Because so we know that your son Samir, he is doing some instrumental work. He's already on technology level. He is taking the organization to a different end. And there are many exciting things. Those seem to be coming in to the basket. So we just are intrigued to know what else and what more is there.
So we look forward to continuing the journey of developing technology and becoming the first choice amongst for customers amongst the products that we make. And to that extent, we are leaving lots of it now to the next generation, both in terms of technology, in terms of product, as well as in terms of running the organization. So the level of automation with which we run the organization is going up all the time, and it will continue going up all the time to increase efficiencies of operation. And what Samir is bringing to the table now is a very strong and rigorous R&D. So R&D, of course, has to develop a certain level of rigor as we go up the value chain.
Right.
So that's what we are looking forward to, and I'm pleased to say that the team that Samir is now building is a very competent team, and he is able to bring the best out of people. So people whom you would think that they may or may not be able to perform, Now we know that by a certain level of coaching, mentoring, we are going to a different level of people training. And we are sure that that's what would lead us to higher technology and our objective of becoming the first choice.
That's
That's
amazing.
nice.
Yeah, we are so happy that person like Samir, who is a IIT topper,
Yes.
has come back to Aurangabad and has joined Grindmaster. And so I once, when I asked him, he said, "Truly, I think that there are global opportunities in Grindmaster."
Wow.
And that is why I'm back. Not only for being with you, parents, and being with the family, but also because I see big opportunities to be global. Grindmaster is already global now, but there is a lot that can be done globally. And having a first choice, as Milind said, for the global customer is what I think our aim will be. And doing it for a customized equipment is not easy.
Right.
So Samir has good amount of challenges to face ahead to really do it. For the standard machines, lot of things are can be standardized and will happen the way it is defined.
Yes.
But for customized solutions, you have to really develop the system also in that fashion
Right.
to take care of the customization aspect of it, which is essence of our business, because that is what we like. And so that is how I think Samir will is capable of taking it forward, and we are pleased that we have a succession in place.
That is so
That is also another challenge actually for every
Yes.
industry.
That's wonderful, and it has been a great interaction. But picture abhi baki hai.
So the last segment, the fun segment, like this was also fun, the fun segment. But I just had a news that it's your birthday also today. So all of us would like wish you a very happy birthday today.
Thank
And
you.
I am truly grateful to you that you gave us time on your birthday, because I truly believe then when it is your birthday, the day should be yours.
Thanks. Thanks. It was my pleasure. I like meeting people, and that's what has happened.
Oh,
today.
that's nice then. Okay, so let's get to the rapid fire segment now. Okay, so we will start with you, ma'am. Okay, so let's ask you, Mumbai kar or Aurangabad kar?
Aurangabad.
Oh my.
For sure. Whenever I am out of Aurangabad, I must get back in less than a week's time. Beyond that, my capacity of staying out of my house is limited.
Okay, the favorite grandparent of Almitra and Shura.
Oh, this will be a point of debate. You may start creating a fight right here.
That's what our intent is.
Because I always think Almitra loves me more.
That is true. Yes.
You know,
So sweet.
she is going to distribute the chocolates in her school today.
Oh my god.
For your
On my Aj's birthday.
Wow.
That's so sweet. That's so cute.
She definitely loves you more than.
Yes.
No, but of course, Milind really loves everyone, and both the grandchildren are very special to him. He takes care of them like anything, doing everything for them, right from when they were small.
So nice, so nice. Okay, a difficult one now. Where does your happiness lie? In Samir or in Almitra and Shura?
Almitra. Samir is a baby, but he is grown now.
-1 for Samir.
Almitra and Shiroy,
They
our
are the
life
trophies,
actually.
yeah.
Yeah.
They are our life.
Maybe we can give +1 to Samir and Natasha for giving them to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And also a very brainstorming question to you. One bad thing about sir which you would like to improve.
Oh,
Now,
Only
let me
one?
just also recite one quick story. We have one friend, very lovely friend, very close friend, who meddles with our lives, and we have borrowed this question from him, which is called as one good,
One good, one bad.
one good, one bad. Yeah, yeah. See, so let me say first good thing about him. And he is a strange combination of adventurous nature and also caring.
Oh.
Wow.
You know, typically adventurous people are careless. they don't care, they want to do the adventure. But he is always taking up any challenge head on. So when he is there, I think I can also take any challenge when he is there. And at the same time, he is so caring with everyone. So this is a really good thing about him.
अहो बॅड विचारताय.
त्यांना बहुतेक लिस्ट आहे.
नाही, आधी good सांगितलं ना. The bad thing is he is too caring even about people who do not behave properly with him. Even with them he is very caring and doesn't use the bad words, or that is something which sometimes I get disturbed because when I see people not talking to him properly, even those people he is caring. And he talks very lovingly with them. So this is something which maybe he has to improve.
Very nice to know.
आता जरा अवघड आहे याच्या पुढे ते.
And
Let's go to sir.
absolutely, sir. Now taking it to you. So, पुण्याची सुजाता मस्तानी का औरंगाबादचं लकी ज्यूस सांग.
अय्यो,
या-
दोन्ही.
या दोन्हीचा मी कधी फारसा आस्वाद घेतलेला नाहीये. मला सगळ्यात काय आवडतं ना, एक तर मी स्वतः केलेले बटाटे वडे मला फार
क्या
आवडतात.
बात.
And generally I am a fan of batata vadas.
Great.
So I have not visited Lucky Juice, not that I remember of.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And your favorite artist, Hema Malini ji.
Devanand.
Give the other option. Give the other option.
Now comes the riddle. So your favorite dancer, Sridevi, Hema Malini ji, or
I'm not a dancer.
She has become one with lots of hard work.
It is inspiring, but it is inspiring.
highly inspiring. And
आणि ना मी इतका डान्स कोणाचाच पाहिलेला नाही अजून. केअरफुली आणि at times I have videographed also.
Wow.
So the choice is clear.
absolutely, and it's such an inspiration, ma'am, that very recently you have completed Arangitam. You
Yes.
had your own show in the
Yes.
city. And people like us, we just keep on thinking, kare ya nahi kare. But when somebody like you is doing that with full zeal and enthusiasm, that motivates everybody.
It's a good push to us.
Oh, yeah. Actually, I did it for my pleasure. I'm not really a dancer, or, it's not my career. And I know that I don't want it as my career. But I wanted to do a program because then the learning is complete.
Absolutely.
This is what I believed, and that's why I did that program.
You
really
say that you are not a dancer, but he has declared you one
Yeah,
today.
all of us you are. Fantastic. And now again moving on to the controversial segment, thanks to Rohan. One good and one bad about ma'am.
Oh,
The good is the smile.
Oh,
can
that is
definitely
nice.
say so.
Yeah. And the bad one, punctuality.
Oh my God.
Oh my goodness. I haven't been irritated in my life as much by this one particular characteristic as punctuality. I like to be on the dot. Madam likes to be 15 minutes behind the dot.
and by the way, I'm never late anywhere. So
That is the culture of Aurangabad, that you can never be late. But I tend to be, if I say something, then I go there at that time.
So sometimes 8 o'clock, wedding reception, even the hosts are not there and we are there. So the bride is still in the makeup room.
But then my argument is, if you keep on going on time, people will realize that they also need to be on time.
Right. That is true.
If you also go at 8:30 instead of 8, they say, public भी तो late ही जाता है.
हाँ, चलता हूँ.
So that is, I hope she improves.
That's great. And we are so glad that we are not at the receiving end. Otherwise, her list was very, very long. We never have to be on that side of the
I also hope so. I also hope so.
But if we are about to end the podcast, I would just like to speak on one thing in a few sentences. That is, afforestation. So that I have now taken it very seriously, and more I read about it, carbon sequestration, carbon capture, and what we are doing to for climate change, these have become really serious issues. So what I would like to just use this medium to say is that we no longer have, love for trees for the sake of, betterment of the improvement, the wildlife and so on. This is no longer a bonus, treat it as an emergency.
Right.
And whether you like it or not, planting more and more trees that will sequester carbon dioxide seems to be the only viable tool in the hands of mankind today. So more people getting involved in this, the better it is.
Absolutely.
That is true. That is true.
That's a wonderful message, sir. And we also got to learn many things which would definitely take our course further in life. And so as for others who are seeing this podcast. So thank you so much. And that was Mrs. Mohini Kelkar, Mr. Milind Kelkar with us from Grindmaster. 3 things, the key takeaways for today is follow your passion and do not even put any stone unturned to achieve it. 100 minus 1 is equal
zero.
to 0. And finally, let's try and do our bit to make this place carbon neutral.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for today. It was a great interaction. Thanks a lot.
We would love to thank NSBT for giving us this opportunity to interact with such stalwarts as well. And keep watching Tejas, our podcast series and an initiative by NSBT. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks.